A little bit of downtime
No,
to
we're
talk.
actually at the beginning of it right now. We just got here, so they haven't even put us in a room yet. We're still waiting.
So tonight's the night, huh?
I know. Crazy.
Finally, you're going to pop out this human. I am so sick of hearing about almost having this baby.
Kyle suggested we could leave her in, and then that way we could carpool when she's old enough to go to college.
That's a smart
Shannon
move.
works at a
That's a
college.
smart move.
I was like,
it.
I'm not sure I can keep her in for another 18 years.
She just does like an Akira inside Shannon until she is Shannon.
Tetsuo!
I'm glad you called in. It's good. I'm glad you guys are doing a thing tonight. That's awesome.
Thanks for giving me something for the cold open.
I was about to say, I know Nick's recording it, but I am too.
Oh, fantastic.
Episode 352 of the TV Dudes, recorded September 29th, 2021. Why would you make that? This week, we asked the musical question, why would you make that? Blending together Star Wars and anime on Star Wars Visions over on Disney Plus is actually the least crazy thing this week. There's the forgettable Ordinary Joe on Hulu, there's the Korean sci-fi weirdness of Squid Game on Netflix, and there are certainly some weird gems on Les's rundown of Fantastic Fest. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
I'm Nick Asley.
And we're the TV Dudes, and we're never going to give you up.
I never let you down, Randy.
Do you think Kyle would run around and desert us?
No, I don't think he's. I think lifelong commitment is what he's. Full commitment is what Kyle's thinking about.
You gotta believe Les, because he'd never tell a lie.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't get this from any other dudes.
So we're hoping you all have seen Ted Lasso and know what the hell we're doing here.
I mean, yeah, if you want to understand how we're feeling, you know.
Kyle, in fact, is taking a bit of a hiatus. He is at the hospital right now having a baby. Well, his wife is having a baby. He's helping. I guess he helped 9 months ago. I don't know what he's doing now.
In true dude fashion, he's watching someone have a baby
Yes.
and then commenting on it on a podcast.
That's right. And that's the Patreon.
It's just
Oh,
Kyle
it's
going, "Oh my god! That's how that happens!"
If only we thought that far ahead, guys.
Man, the practical effect work on this is very good. Very gooey.
It's like watching Malignant.
It's just, I don't want to spoil Malignant.
Why can Kyle's baby control electricity?
It's one of the
been
many
speaking
questions
through
I
Kyle
have.
for a month. I don't know.
All right, let's divert over from this disturbing discussion and talk about our TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Oh, I legit forgot what we were talking about. I thought we were going to talk about Kyle's baby.
No, that's the Patreon.
Kyle's superpowered baby.
So I'm gonna let Les go last because I know Les has watched a ton of movies this week.
Yup.
Nick, why don't you go first?
Let's see, what did I watch this week? Well, I watched Squid Game. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that watched that.
You warned me off of it.
I warned you because, like, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't like it from the outset, and even if you did, you would have hated the ending. So,
okay.
Like, as soon as I got to the ending, I'm like, well, because at first I was kind of like, this would at least be interesting to talk about, but then I caught the last of, like, was it 9 episodes? And I was like, Randy would really hated watching all of this only to get this ending. So, I ended up trying to warn you off of that.
And it worked. It worked.
Let's see, I watched Polar. You guys seen Polar, the Mads Mikkelsen movie?
No.
Nope.
I was telling Les about it. It's another movie I less watched, and I've less watched it a lot. Like, and that means I've only watched the middle 7 minutes over and over and over again. Because
I thought less watching was when you subjected your friends to a terrible movie.
Oh no! It's when you find like the one corner of that turd that might be able to be polished, and then you just obsess over it and try to forget that the entire movie actually does not work.
That's exactly right. That is 100% what less watching is.
And I've now ruined several. Well, ruined. I don't know. I've changed the experience of several movies for Nick at this point.
In this one I was less watched because it's a Mads Mikkelsen movie where in that 7 minutes it's basically Mads Mikkelsen's old school Charlie Bronson movie against the new style Suicide Squad movie. Like these new guys have all like come in with like graphic text saying what their name is and stuff like that, all the whole 9 yards. And Mads Mikkelsen just destroys them, just rips right through them. And it's like a commentary on the new Suicide Squad type movies and how fucking dumb they are. And how real good hitmen are kind of boring at what they do, but they're efficient. And unfortunately, that's the only 7 minutes of that movie that actually delivers on that. The rest of it is really stupid.
Oh. Mads Mikkelsen needs a new agent, I think.
He does.
Oh, he does the Lord's work in terrible films.
I keep seeing him in too much stuff where I'm like, Mads Mikkelsen is the best thing in this movie, and it is not helping his career whatsoever.
Yep.
I think the premise of that movie is the hitmen are a part of an organization and they have a 401k in retirement, which I was shocked by. Wait a minute, no, like no spies make it to retirement, no hitmen make it to retirement, they just get killed. And apparently that's the brainwave the boss has, because he's like, okay, we're gonna kill all these guys before that their retirement age, because then we don't have to pay out all their stuff on the retirement. So that's gonna save us money. And he puts it to the financiers, which I'm like, okay, I kind of get that if you employed, I don't know, accountants or lawyers. But you've picked the one group of people that would be the hardest to kill. And when it goes wrong, they get shocked for some reason, like, wow, this guy is hard to kill and good at killing our guys. Yeah, that's why you hired him. And they can't, like, they're looking for places of his, like, oh, he's not here. He on the paperwork it says he owns this place, but he's not here. Like, they're surprised he's hard to find. And like, what do you do? It's like, yeah, he's hard to find. That is a requirement of being an assassin, right behind being very good at killing people that are trying to kill him. This is the worst idea anyone's ever had. But yeah, that I would recommend that middle 7 minutes, very much so.
Okay, well that's an interesting recommendation.
Well, you get to hear Mads Mikkelsen say stuff like in the kill a guy, and then on the mic that the guys are using, like, did you hear that? Try not to be scared.
Yeah.
You make mistakes when you're afraid.
This sounds awful, and I'm definitely going to fast forward to that middle 7 minutes, though.
You gotta. It's let's see, I watched My Hero Academia, which I didn't realize this before, but has actually been retitled for these episodes called My Villain Academia, since it's concentrating on the villains. And yeah, you get the backstory of the main villain who is abused by his son, or is abused by his father because he wants to be a hero, and he keeps asking about it, and the father keeps beating his ass, and his family won't really do anything to help him. So he's crying and hugging his dog, and then his power activates, and his power is to decompose stuff. So he kills the fuck out of his dog.
Oh, man.
Oh.
His dog decomposes and crumbles to dust in front of him. And
like that Skittles commercial where the guy, yeah.
It doesn't stay dust. The dog actually afterwards becomes like guts and blood and stuff. So it's this horror show. The sister comes out. What the fuck did you do? And he grabs the girl because he doesn't know that he did that to the dog. He thought another villain is obviously hurting him and his family. So he grabs his sister trying to protect her, kills the fuck out of her too, and proceeds to just keep doing that to his entire family until he's a villain origin story. There you go.
God, man, put it together.
Yeah, it took a long time for him to figure that out, but he did figure it out in time enough to intentionally kill his father. Like, that wasn't an accident. That was a complete murder.
I'm looking for someone to help explain what's happening to me. Hi, let me shake your hand. How you doing? Oh my God. Yeah, I'm looking for, can you help me? Let me shake your hand.
Why does that keep happening? What's the common denominator here? I can't figure it out. Maybe it's dogs.
It's probably dog.
I watched Reincarnated as a Slime. a lot of meetings after that whole like killing 40,000 soldiers or whatever. There's a lot of meetings between nations of they have to create a narrative of like, okay, well, we got to blame this on someone because we can't say that the monster nation killed an entire army of dudes. That would create chaos and panic. So we're gonna lie and say that the storm dragon did it. Because apparently in this universe you can just blame stuff on a dragon and it totally works.
That dragon is also a sword.
Luckily he's friends with the dragon, so the dragon's like, oh yeah, totally. Yeah, that helps my cred actually, as a fucking chaos dragon. No, I can actually totally use that to my advantage. I watched the end of Q-Force, which I realized that I guess it was very hated on Twitter or something. Like, it was very controversial. I don't know. I guess it's because of how it portrays stereotypes for queer people. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, that's what I kind of thought we were doing, like a South Park type thing. But then again, I forgot this is 2021 and irony is dead. So I actually did like how that one ended. I continued to watch Dragon Maid, which got very weird.
You continued to watch Dragon Maid?
Wait, I was like, wait. You can't. What?
I watched it for another episode, and it came like with another dragon that's a very young girl that also seems to be like in love with either like the other dragon maid or the girl that she's with or both. I don't know. But I was like, well, that's on me. I watched another episode. So that at that point, if you're watching episode 2, that's your fault.
You're right. I mean, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you know what you got into.
At some point, Irregulars is on you.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a very irregular week. Well, I see I watched Lower Decks, which was the what's the episode? I forget all the names of the aliens or whatever, but it's that science officer's he's actually a prince or something that
yes.
He loses his virginity.
It was another really good episode. I'm really enjoying that show.
That show is so good. Like he can't no, I cannot lose my purity, otherwise I have to become the ruler of this nation. And his mom is going through this whole rigmarole to try and trick him into fucking these two.
And everyone on the ship knows the game. Like even the captain gives him like the safety phone call.
They're all in on it. Like it's yeah, I found that very funny. I think Boimler and what's her name, Beckett, are taking a rogue AI that has caused like destruction of the planet.
Yes,
and
the
it's
amazing
voiced
Jeffrey
by
Combs.
Jeffrey Combs, yes. And I was like, that was so cool. I loved that. And it's trying to sow distrust between them, but it's very bad at it. It's very obvious in its attempts to manipulate them.
It dovetails so nicely into this week's What If.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like, what if Ultron was really bad at what he did?
It's just Zola, but like 30 centuries into the future. Everybody's like, "Will you shut up?"
Well, at least you didn't worship this one as a religion. Yeah, that would be very embarrassing to worship this thing as a god. Good thing we didn't do that. But yeah, that was my TV diaries.
So in addition to the homework, I watched a lot of the homework for next couple weeks actually. There's a lot of stuff coming out. So I watched the first 2 episodes of Foundation. I watched the first episode of Wonder Years. I watched all of Midnight Mass, Mike Flanagan's new Netflix series, which is fantastic. I finished up American Horror Story season 10. Well, the first half of it, which that shit was bonkers.
The vampire half of it.
The vampire half, yes. I watched an episode of Evil, so I've got 1 episode of that left. I think I'm almost caught up on it. It was the UFO episode, which I really liked. Those are sort of their X-Files homage. Watched another episode of Top Chef Family Style, which I continue to find very adorable. And caught up on What We Do in the Shadows, which this week's episode was them doing their vampire council and having to put someone to death that Guillermo had. Guillermo actually got turned into a vampire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun.
I guess I must have missed it. Shit.
Kristen Shaw shows back up, so that's great.
She's been heavy this season. I like that.
I watched Spider-Man Homecoming with my son. He's finally catching up on the MCU with me. And then with Megan, we went back and watched the last 2 episodes of season 4 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is the Gina Gershon gets 2 of them thrown in prison season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where he kicks the door open into the court and like Sail Away is playing.
Yes, it's great. So yeah, that's my TV diaries for the week.
Well, I did not watch any of the homework, hardly at all. It's been Fantastic Fest, which has been both my first time back in a movie theater since Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
Yeah, Les's week has been texting me and making me jealous of all these cool movies he gets to watch.
Yeah. So,
oh man, look at this thing. It's so cool. You should totally watch it. You can't watch it, though.
It's been a weird. Alamo Drafthouse did honestly, they did a great job pivoting, considering that Austin's kind of city situation and the way that Texas will allow things to be handled, made for a need to change the way that we were going to be seated in movies, and so there's no badge for Fantastic Fest this year. It's just bought tickets. It was really weird. None of that actually changed the press side of it, but it kind of pushed the press system way to the back. We got emails real late of like, this is how this is going to work. But I honestly, they already had filmmakers committed to flying down and shit. Like, I can't imagine the like, we can't cancel it panic that they had to be going through. Either way, it still seems to have come off pretty well, but it's made for a fest where, I don't know, like, I'm already pretty socially anxious after 18 months as a shut-in of walking up on like groups of strangers and talking. But when you're all masked, it's super weird. And it's been a real strange fest of. I always feel a little strange at film fest, like, you're not supposed to talk during the fucking movie. So it's a festival where we're all keep going into rooms where, like, shut up, I don't want to talk to you. And then you come out and you've got to like watch where you walk. Nick's been through this of like wanting to talk about the movie you just saw, but you can't spoil that thing for everybody around you. So like, we'd constantly walk out of movies that had some huge fucking twist and be like, walk further away.
You gotta walk out and like try and find a spot where no one is so you can talk about it, but you also have to dodge groups of people because they are talking about other stuff that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
It's like a maze of like spoilers you gotta run through.
I did manage to run into one person that I knew was in town and was hoping to see, but otherwise it's been like this targeted, like, I mask up like no idea who I am and walk straight into like a press and industry screening where there's like 3 people, and then I walk the fuck out. It's been real weird, but I have seen a bunch of movies this week. I'm just going to run down the list and then I'll talk about them a little bit later in the show. Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes, Cannon Arm and the Arcade Quest, Mad God, Found Footage Phenomenon, which is a documentary, Let the Wrong One In, The Beta Test, Bingo Hell, The Exorcism of God, EK Boys, Lamb, Mother Schmuckers, This is Gwar, another documentary, The Trip, Baby Assassins. They're young assassins. They don't shoot babies. Eyes of Fire. I mean, I understand there are probably people that don't like babies, but not enough to hire someone, I don't think.
That's usually a job you can do yourself.
There's Someone Inside Your House, Timekeepers of Eternity, VHS 94, Woodlands Dark, which is another documentary, Sweetie, You Won't Believe It, and then I've got a bunch more that I'll be watching this coming week. Agnes, Dead and Beautiful, Hellbender, Knocking, The Sadness, Number 10, Salome, Marco Effect, Masking Threshold, The Visitor, Homebound, Who Killed the KLF, Zalana, Glass House, Alone with You, and Samuel's Travels.
That's a lot of movies, Les.
You made some of those up.
Yes. Well, which? Oh, and Bloody Oranges.
No, they're all real. Probably worth the Google.
And there are still a handful of movies that. Oh, name of a title as well. There's still a handful of movies that I wanted to see that didn't get a chance to. Like The Innocents is several people's favorite at the fest, and I was not able to see it. Same with a movie called Freaks Out, as well as Cargill and Derrickson's new one, The Black Phone.
Okay.
The secret screenings, it looks like, were Last Night in Soho and Benedetta.
What is? You mentioned that. I don't know what that one is.
Super pervy nun movie by Paul Verhoeven. He was asked in a bunch of interviews that were super awkward about, like, did she have to masturbate with a dildo shaped like Jesus? He's like, well, I felt she did. And so, yeah, it's I have no idea if it's good or bad, but it looks fucking crazy.
God damn it, sold. That's Paul Verhoeven, Sexy Nun movie. I'm in. Yeah.
Let's do this.
I've been excited for Last Night in Soho, and the buzz I've seen from the couple of people I knew who saw the screening is that it's great.
Apparently, they were told to try to keep quiet about it and not go nuts about it, because it was really like a day later, there were people on the Facebook feed that were like, "Hey, so I'm a little worried. I've not heard anyone say whether that was good or not." And that never happens on a secret screening. Like, you're freaking me out. And people were like, "Oh, no, I'm sorry. We were just trying to not fucking spoil it. It's my favorite movie of the year." So, I mean, I didn't get to see it, but there were several people that were like, "Oh, no, it's, did you want to see an Edgar Wright movie? Because here you go."
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited about that one. I'm looking forward to it. We'll talk more about those in detail when we get to the rest of the show. But before we do that, it's time for Truth is Stranger Than Fanfiction.
Imagine, if you will, a reality containing television programs so bizarre they are indistinguishable from the ravings of a madman. Is the show you are about to hear simply a fabrication in the mind of a man with clearly nothing better to do with his time? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fanfiction?
Is it indeed? Well, I feel like Les has probably got me beat on this week of whatever the fuck he just said.
Right?
Like, I wish I had made up a show called Baby Assassins. That's pretty good.
But the question is, did you pay the 401k for your Baby Assassins?
No, that's why I have to retire them at like 8 months.
Hey, they had a good run.
They had a good run. They made it to infancy, like just to toddler status.
That's right. They said baby, they said hello, they said daddy, and then that was it.
Well, they said hello, mommy, and then kill mommy, and that was That's when you know they had to go.
They learned they're like, the first word was hello mommy, and the next word was where's my fucking 401k, and that's when they got to go. You gotta if they know right away.
Kyle's about to find out.
I'll tell you what, like, instead of the thing we were gonna do, maybe I'll just make up a show right now of Baby Assassins, because that's kind of what I want to do.
Let me add are you open to notes?
I'm open to notes. I haven't fully thought this one out yet.
Adult Baby Assassins.
Okay, well that's the next season afterwards. That's like Rugrats all grown up.
I was going to go with Fetal Fatale.
Ooh. See, that's the sexy baby one.
That's like Baby Nikita.
I was going with Diaper Fetishist Assassins. That's what I was thinking.
This is not good. There's no way to go further with this joke without one of us. Like, we've played the chicken of like who's about to make the worst joke on this, and it's too far. I give up.
Yes.
None of us are gonna blink.
Yeah, no. We're just driving 3 cars straight into each other. This is a bad idea.
It's just gonna be Fast and Furious 7, where Jason Statham and Vin Diesel like, nope,
it's just
gonna run right straight into each other.
Everybody's car starts on opposite ends of a circle, and they just all tell dead baby jokes until they hit the center. Last one with a career.
What's worse than dead babies in a trunk?
Nope.
Nick, what do you got for us this week?
One dead baby in Ted trunks.
Thank you for coming to Nick's TED Talk.
Randy, your letters are K and Goo Goo Gaga. I'm sorry, M.
I'm going to go M because I'm not feeling very K right now.
Yeah, it's more O-te. All right, this show is about a samurai who is black. In fact, he's so black, he has an afro.
Nick, is this show Afro Samurai?
Damn it!
I was just sort of thinking, like, it can't be that easy.
I feel like I pulled a Mandy there. I got the whole thing.
You've actually seen Afro Samurai? I'm actually surprised about that.
It was a Netflix one, wasn't it?
It was actually on Spike TV first, but it was on Netflix for a while.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple episodes.
I shouldn't have picked something with Samuel Jackson. Damn it!
Yep. That was what got you. Yep. I think I watched like 10 minutes, and all I knew is Afro Samurai is a thing. So yes, boom, I got you.
Guys, you win Stranger Than Fanfiction. I didn't even get to the death of Darth Vader, but has a teddy bear for a head. Or Robo Afro. This is bullshit.
Well, we did take a little extra time though to successfully pitch a number of dead baby shows.
Sure. Dead baby Afro assassin.
This is probably a good time to remind you, maybe not, that you can support us and our baby-hating habits.
I don't think this is a good time for anything.
By going over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us $1 an episode. In exchange, we get to keep with our streaming services and pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're talking about a couple of big sequels coming to the small screen next year, Babylon 5 and Night Court, both of which are close to our hearts for different reasons. And we also have our $20 showrunner level, so if there are any shows you want us to throw into the rotation, you can buy that level, give us a couple ideas. You only have to pay it once. You don't have to stay on that level. And next month, we're going to be talking Psycho-Pass because, as always, our showrunners love to make us watch anime.
If you can find a show with babies and or assassins in it, preferably both, you can pay us $20 and we'll watch that shit.
I feel like somewhere on Funimation there's that already.
And I'll pretend I haven't already watched it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's talk about TV for this week, and let's start with it says here in my notes, anime.
Are you sure you spelled that right? I have M&A.
So yeah, they put two great tastes that taste great separately together, and that's Star Wars and anime. And if you guys have listened to TV Dudes at all, you know there's nothing that Les loves more than Star Wars and anime, and nothing Nick loves more than Star Wars, and nothing I love more than anime, so...
I'm actually disappointed. Les, you didn't get the chance to watch any of these?
I mean, there were opportunities, I'm sure.
Because you're the ultimate litmus test, because you have the anime fan and the Star Wars fan, so we're like we're biased in one way or the other.
But I dug the hell out of this.
Randy, I gotta say, this is like, and I am serious about this, this is the best thing Star Wars has put out in the last 2 decades, easily.
Better than The Mandalorian?
Yeah. No, I'm more fascinated by this than The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is good, but this has more interesting ideas in general.
Is it because they don't have to stick with canon? That they can do
and
whatever
yes,
the fuck?
That definitely helps.
Because they almost can't stick to canon. I think that was a rule, like you can't use any canon characters other than Boba Fett and Jabba. Those are the only 2 people I recognize. And the show is so much better for it.
Yeah, the universe feels so much bigger.
Yes, and it makes the Jedi mysterious again.
Mm-hmm. It does. Oh yeah, because there are more Jedi. There's like there's more Jedi than there should be, and I'm like, that doesn't bother me because I like the idea of them being like out there in this sort of hellscape where people are hunting them. It's much more interesting if it's not just Luke.
These Star Wars visions treat the rest of the Star Wars canon like Kevin Feige treats Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It didn't really happen. Like, we don't care. Hey, there's 2 evil twins that are in charge of an Empire spaceship. Where the fuck were they during the entire Empire War? We don't care. They were there. Whatever. Fuck off.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Some of them, like, they're not set in almost any time period. You can imagine they're like 1,000 years before or 1,000 years after.
Mm-hmm.
What I realize is that the Jedi work as Ronin, as wandering warriors that right wrongs in the Outer Rim planets where people don't believe Jedi exist. Like they have legends and stories, but people don't really believe these magic space wizards are real until one shows up and fucks their shit up royal.
Once they're a council and having meetings, they're boring as shit.
And that's the thing is that Clone Wars, I agree that it's fine, it's okay, and Star Wars Rebels is actually good, but Clone Wars is stuck to the worst part Star Wars has ever put out, and it's always attached to the prequels, which have introduced midichlorians, the Jedi as monks, and all of this awful shit. And after seeing this, I will go on standpoints that CG animation and TV can suck a dick. These fights are awesome.
Look, I am not going to say I love the animation on Bad Batch and all that. I really love what Dave Filoni and the others have done with that. But yeah, shit, man, this is a whole different beast, and it's great. And you're right, the fight scenes are fantastic. The twins, by the way, that episode, the twins, same people who did same people that did Kill la Kill. Yeah,
yep. You can totally tell in the animation too.
Yeah.
Well, shit, I'm sold.
Do you have a favorite, Nick? I don't know if you.
The first one really sold me.
Really, the duel, the sort of like lone samurai with his what is it, the Yojimbo style thing?
Yeah, I was actually sitting down. I sat down to watch this, Randy, and I was kind of harumph.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Star Wars. I've hated Star Wars for like so long now. I've hated Star Wars longer than I've liked Star Wars. Fuck this show. It better impress me. And the first episode alone does something so much more interesting than any of the fucking Star Wars movies have ever done. It's the best thing since the Tartakovsky cartoon.
Wow.
It starts off black and white, and you know I hate that. Like, that pretentious bullshit. But it's funny because they use this black and white, which Star Wars is a black and white universe, but this story introduces moral grayism into the Wanderer duelist. Because he fights this duel or whatever, but then, like, you think he's a Jedi, he pops out a red lightsaber, and it's like, what the fuck is this? And by the end of it, after he defeats the Sith, he pops that lightsaber open, takes the Kyber crystal, opens up his robe, puts it next to like 4 other red Kyber crystals, and you realize he's a fucking like trophy hunter for Sith. I want to watch the rest of this guy's story right now.
Yeah.
This is the most interesting thing that Star Wars has ever produced, of like the deadliest game, but it's fucking Sith. Yes, I would watch the shit out of that show.
There's a lot of that, by the way. There's a lot of episodes where I'm like, oh man, if I have any complaints, it is I wanted more of some of this stuff. The Tatooine Rhapsody, the one that was basically the Scott Pilgrim in the Star Wars universe.
I loved that because it's like, what if a Jedi, he was on the run, and what if he had to join a band?
Yeah, what if he became the lead singer of a band and had to play for Jabba? I really liked it, but the problem was it was just getting started when it ended.
Yeah,
they got
it was just getting to the good part where Jabba is going to be their financier.
Yeah.
Like, and how do you, like, it's like a Star Wars, like if a gangster financed your, like, band or whatever.
It really is. It would be like if the original Star Wars ended right when Luke found the droids, and like, and he sees Princess Leia, and then the end credits come up. Like, it's a little weird to end it, but I want more. I'm hoping they'll do more.
Yeah, after the lightsaber becomes a microphone, I'm like, I don't even know how that works, but that's fucking rad.
Yeah, it's great.
I was hooked also from, like, I was like, well, I don't know about this Star Wars thing, and then suddenly a lightsaber umbrella comes up, and I'm like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
They do so much cool stuff with the lightsabers in this one. The twins have those cool lightsabers. The Ninth Jedi has that really cool invention where the lightsabers he's building reflect the spirit of the Jedi that's holding it, so it like has different color,
which makes
power.
A great twist by the end of it, because it flips the script on what you think of as again good and evil in the Star Wars universe, and it flips your expectation of it. It just does stuff that the movies won't do. The movies won't do an umbrella lightsaber. Like, the movies won't do moral gray.
Also, there's anime tropes in here. I didn't mind it. There's a fucking bunny girl. And I loved that episode.
Dude, that episode rocks, because it's like, what if a Jedi, like, thousands of years ago, generations and generations and generations ago, taught a person how to be a Jedi by only kind of, and then died, and now, throughout the generations, it's, like, become a samurai totem, so it's not quite a Jedi, and you can tell that the lightsaber has been modified throughout the generation, so it looks like this fucking weird samurai sword, and it's awesome. And it's about family and the like this terrorist dad who's very bad at being a terrorist. Like, I don't want to tell you how to terrorist, but maybe flee the scene of the crime and don't argue with your daughter at the scene of where you just blew something up. But that bunny girl was very cool. Something they wouldn't do in live action, really, because the budget wouldn't allow it. And yeah, I think the only one I didn't quite like the last one, the
Atakini or Atakiri.
Yeah, where the guy's trying to save his loved one, but ends up being the cause of the death or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I didn't love does it TOB1 the Astro Boy homage? I didn't think that was great either.
I like the animation on that. Also, I liked the idea of how human do you have to be in order to be a Jedi, because this kid is a cyborg.
Yeah, there are ideas. I didn't think any were bad, but that was definitely one of my lower favorites. Those two are on my.
Well, again, that one doesn't delve into that idea. It doesn't have time to delve into it very much. But
right.
the last one they do, it is better than the Hayden Christensen turn. It feels like that, but better. And I'm still like, I don't know. I still feel like this was not really worth it as far as a Jedi falling from grace or whatnot.
I am shocked at how good these were.
Also, the what was it? The old man one.
The Elder, yeah.
This is what I love about animation, in that they make the lightsabers feel dangerous, as far as how close they can get and how fast, like how quickly a lightsaber fight can turn on you and just like wreck your shit. Of like, it's always, lightsaber fights always end with someone's limbs getting cut off.
Yep.
It's a good thing they have robot arms in this universe.
I honestly like this a lot better than I expected to. I was expecting to maybe like it, but I thought it was fantastic. And honestly, Les, I would recommend you watching a few of the episodes. I think you will dig it.
Yeah, I will probably end up giving at least one of them a shot. Some of it still just sounds terrible, but you know.
Come on and lose yourself now, everybody. Do the dancing and we move your body. We just be starting daily, how we love it. Do the dance stop, hey, we all about it. Just as you start to sing out, everybody. Do the dancing, hey, we move your body. We just be starting daily, how we love it. Do the dance stop, hey, we all about it. We all
So Les, why don't you tell us about some movies that you saw this week?
Sure. So I started a day before, before the fest started, with some screeners, and there's been a huge amount of a press screener room, and so I got to just tear through some movies at home, as well as going to some in the theater. Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes is frustratingly one of the movies at Fantastic Fest that does not yet have distribution, and it is, I think, my number 2 movie of the fest so far. It's absolutely fantastic. It is a single take time travel movie that clocks at about 1 hour. I don't think the people had ever made a movie before. It is a theater troupe. I mean that in a stunning way. Like, it's a theater troupe.
Man, you are not selling me on this.
Who they show behind the scenes during the credits, and the written out mapping of them going up and down and like stairs in this location, and who can be where, because the premise of the movie is that a guy lives upstairs from the coffee shop he owns, and he realizes sitting down one evening on his bed that the computer monitor in his room and the security camera monitor in the store are 2 minutes off each other. And he fucks with it a little bit, and then some friends show up, and one of them immediately faces the two TVs at each other, and then they've got an infinite 2 minutes, and so from that point forward, you start watching really crazy shit happen in this movie. But it's like it comes down the pipeline from one TV. Like if you're watching the background of the scene, you'll see somebody way in the distance in the thing pop out, and you'll realize they're 8-10 minutes in time forward, and then it'll keep repeating closer and closer one monitor until you realize, oh shit, this is the point where there they go having to do it live. Fucking amazing. It's one of the 2 movies that I've already watched twice at the fest, because it's absolutely fantastic. It's the one cut of the dead of this year. Nick.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
High praise.
Yes, it is so sweet, you just can't believe it. Cannon Arm and the Arcade Quest is a documentary about a guy who decides that he is going to set the world record for playing Gyrus.
Oh, okay.
The incredibly difficult vector spin around Starfield 80s game. He holds the absolute world record in it. His whole little team of people are what make the documentary, though. They all hold world records in various games. They are all real weird.
Is it like the King of Kong type thing?
They end up on the phone with that dude, Billy Mitchell, for a minute. And then at a point in the documentary, he gets busted on his cheating. Because his scores are emulator, and he's been taken off his records. But anyway, he's going for 100 hours on a single coin on what is got to be one of the hardest fucking games in the 80s. The average playtime for a game of Gyrus is 3 minutes, and it's programmed that way. Like, you should die in 3 to 4 minutes on a coin. And this dude goes,
well, thanks for definitively telling me I sucked at that game, considering the average.
That's what I was like. I've never made it close to that. Like, that's a game that I couldn't risk a quarter on as a kid because it's a fucking waste.
No, you couldn't. That quarter didn't go far enough.
Watching this dude, like, it's like you watch the team get ready, and it's wild, and they're trying to prep him because he's going to play for 100 hours on one coin. And then all of the weird tricks that he knows about this game just get crazy. Like, you can bank up to 256 lives, but you can't see them on screen. So, because it would fill up the screen. So at a certain point, you have to be tracking the math on that of how many lives you have. Because if you go to 257, it rolls back to 0 and you die.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
And so, like, he's got a team of people with a fucking Excel spreadsheet that are having to track, because you get new lives every million points, and so he's like, million, and they have to track the life, and like, lost a life, and they have to take the life, so that he can take 10-minute naps where he's losing, or go take a piss break where he's losing a life every like 10 seconds.
Oh my God.
And they're like, first wave, second wave, and he's like lost 14 lives or 18 lives or whatever. It's fucking crazy. Really fun documentary, really, really sweet. Watched another documentary called Found Footage Phenomenon, which is about what you think it is.
Phenomenon?
Yes, no, found footage movies, and it was actually really cool. Talking about the birth of that, it does not start with Blair Witch. There are earlier movies, but the evolution of that as a film genre alongside society learning this language of filming ourselves all the time. And how it's one of the only horror genres that you can watch change alongside the audience's, like, in real time. Like, you watch the audience get more comfortable with their phone, and found footage movies change. So that now we've got shit like Host, which they talk about. I still can't believe that dude put that movie together that quick into the pandemic last year. It's really great. So that was really cool. Let the Wrong One In is an Irish vampire movie that is fucking hilarious.
Is it a riff on Let the Right One In?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This kid's fucking trash bag of a brother wakes up hungover and is trying to walk home, and he just keeps smoking every time he steps into the sun. And he can't figure out what the fuck is happening. Like, by the time Anthony Stewart Head shows up, you're absolutely on board. It is hilarious. The effects get weird claymation practical, and every time any vampire bleeds, it's just a fucking garden hose of blood out of whatever hole it is. So there's a lot of gags of like people trying to stake a vampire, missing their heart. The vampire pulls the stake out. A like room width arc of blood like shoots across the room, and like, oh shit, it puts the stake back in.
No, I love the casting on that. Anthony Stewart is my second favorite type of head.
Yeah.
Fuck you, that
Absolutely
was good.
great.
Come on.
Let's break from talking about these movies for a minute. We'll come back with some more to talk about a really forgettable show on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
So
No Ordinary... What's his face?
No Ordinary What's His Face.
No Ordinary Family. I remember this show. Dude from The Shield.
Yeah, Michael Chiklis.
Yes.
You guys remember how like it used to be that there were network shows, and every so often they do something outrageous and edgy, like there's a split timeline in this one, and this Jason Isaac's son died in one car accident and his wife in another.
Can a CBS audience handle it?
We're gonna follow, or edgy things like I was trying to think other they would do what's his name, Wolk, Joe Wolk, no,
Dick Wolf,
not Nick Wolf.
This show is cutting edge in 2005.
Right. What is the lead of this guy's name, Nick? It's Wolk, but it's James Wolk.
Wolk,
right?
I don't know.
No, the actor James Wolk. He was on Mad Men.
You're making this up.
Is he woke? What are you trying to say, Randy?
His name is James Wolk. You motherfucker.
I'm awake, Randy. What are you yelling at me for?
So his first show that I remember seeing him in was
James Wolk.
Yes. Yes. I hate you both. So he came on this show in 2010 called Lone Star, where he was playing a guy who was a con man who had two lives. He was married to Adrian Palicki in one of them, and he was married to somebody else in the other. And it was a really interesting, edgy pilot. It got some some interesting notes. It was by Kyle Killen, who has done a bunch of interesting TV, although none of it successful. And until he finally came and did Mind Games. Nope, that's not successful either. Jesus, Kyle Killen's done nothing successful, but he was the wonderkind. He was like the wonderkind of TV for a while there. He was doing he did Lone Star. Then he did Awake. So apparently he's sort of obsessed with split timelines or people having multiple wives, and yet he has nothing to do with this show, which feels exactly like Lone Star and Awake, which were edgy 10 years ago. Because the concept of this show, Ordinary Joe, brought to you by ABC, is that James Wolk is playing he's playing a 20-something, but it begins with him as a college student, which is already a bit problematic because he's not a college student-aged actor.
No one's a college-aged
No
student
one's a college-aged actor.
And they try and pull off is audacious on their part.
They're just like roll with it. It's only going to be for a minute. We're not going to do flashbacks. Don't worry about it.
10-1-5 thing.
That's a long minute.
It starts at his college graduation, and he is being torn between these different opportunities. Like, he meets cutes this girl who he likes, and he tells her he wants to be the next Billy Joel. Mind you, this is in 2011. I don't know why he wanted to be the next Billy Joel at that point, but
I suppose.
Yes, and
I want to be the next Kid Rock.
So he tells her this, and then his hot best friend with benefits comes up to him, and she wants him to go out to her family's island or whatever. She wants to talk to him, and maybe it's like, the implication is that they want to get more serious after being kind of fooling around. And the question is, well, will he go out to the island with her? Will he go with this other girl, or will he go with his family because his uncle, who's a cop, and his dad was a cop, but he got shot? Will he go to the family dinner with them? And then we follow 3 timelines where he followed each of these things. So 10 years later, in one of these stories, he and this hot girl, she's working for a politician, and he has become the next Billy Joel, which apparently is a thing.
Soldier on, Randy.
In the other timeline, he has married the blonde girl who was his best friend. They have a kid who's in a wheelchair, who's got some sort of physical disabilities, and they are on the verge of divorce because he is a doctor and he is spending too much time at work. And yet the other one, he became a cop, and then he saves this politician from an assassination attempt and becomes this very popular guy. So in none of these things is he Ordinary Joe. He's Extraordinary Joe in all 3 timelines.
He's so good. Like, all of these timelines worked out for him.
Yeah. He's got a hot wife or 2 hot women who are interested in him.
I refuse to believe anyone who graduated college in the 2010s and wanted to be the next Billy Joel has hot friends with benefit. I don't.
And she's like, it took a long time for him, like, that's not Jennifer Lawrence. That's not J-Law, that's J-Nah.
If you told me he was taking a drunk year off from running for high school president, it's like the politician,
it's that chick
I would
from
believe that.
You, like what's his name was stalking
season?
in You. Joe, that guy's name was Joe.
Yeah.
That was not a very ordinary Joe.
So as this goes on, we discover that he and his wife in the one timeline can't have kids, and we discover that his best friend with benefits was actually pregnant with his kid, and he finds this out of the reunion, and the kid who he has from the other timeline is in this timeline is a different name, but that was a fixed event. And his buddy who he's friends with, no matter what goes on, his friend seems to own the same restaurant bar, and basically there's all this stuff, and no matter what happens, the dark-haired woman works for a politician. Like, there seems to be, like, some things are fixed, but Joe somehow is unstuck in time and has different things happening to him. And this all sounds way more interesting than it is, because basically it's 3 boring shows melded into one show. Like, it's a cop procedural, it's a doctor procedural, and it's a musician procedural mixed with all the, family drama shit. And it's nothing you haven't seen before. It's everything you've seen before.
It's weird because I was wondering, why is his personality so radically different in each life? Like, I mean, police officer, I kind of guess, like, you got to get more aggro or whatever, like, in a job like that, I'm sure. But, like, I don't know why his doctor is almost, like, autistic level not getting it with social situations. And the singer guy is, like, a completely different person. And I realized that why that is because it's too confusing otherwise, because there's no warning you how it's going to change between lives.
Right.
If they weren't so radically different, you wouldn't be able to tell who is who in each timeline. And that's not good.
I will give credit. Wolk is a good actor. He does a good job playing the three different guys. They do a pretty good job of it never becoming confusing. There was no point at which I was like, wait, which timeline are we? Like, I always know which timeline we're in, but I never care.
So what you're
Not
saying,
once.
Randy, is that the show is a prism of endless possibility where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities, creating alternate worlds from the one you know. Follow me and ponder the question, who cares?
Yes, this is what if it were boring as shit? I guess is
the lives themselves. I know they're trying to do this thing of like, as the more things change, the more they stay the same, or his problems are very consistent, even though they're from different angles. But the lives aren't different enough to be very interesting. Like, he has that kid in every timeline, and this is so NBC it hurts.
It's ABC.
ABC? Oh, okay. I guess that's good for ABC. Actually,
it's very ABC though. Oh, well, I guess you're right. It feels like. Who does the show that everybody watches but we don't?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Is that NBC?
This is us. This is us.
That's NBC, right?
This is us, ABC, right? Or is it NBC?
Yeah,
I don't.
Never mind. If it's ABC, props. This is one of the better things you've done.
I know it's not CBS because he's not in a procedural in all three lives.
Right.
Yeah. I knew I wasn't gonna like this show when they showed what was their name? Not Jennifer Lawrence coming back when he was the singer, telling him that she was pregnant, and I was like, the interesting story here is that she got an abortion and she didn't have the baby because she was alone.
Yeah.
And having to deal with that in that one of those timelines, and the other two where he has a kid, and in this one he's not a father. He can't have that kid. He was a father, but he could have been a father, but he didn't choose that. And she says, "Oh, I had him and I put him up for adoption." I'm like, "You fucking cowards! You cowards!"
Yep. Yeah.
You wanted your cake and eat it too, of like him not having that kid, and like, oh, I'm gonna go find him, I guess, because not one of these storylines can't have this fucking kid in it.
Yeah. And here's the worst thing. I didn't hate this. I just didn't care at all. I got through it and I'm like, it's well produced, it's slick, it looks expensive, the cast is all good. But I got to the end and I'm like, if they showed me 0 more episodes of this, it would have no impact on my life.
I think it would actually be better if they just chose one of these lives and stuck with it.
What if Jason Todd style you got to vote? And the other two end real badly.
The only way to make this work is if one of the timelines discovers the other ones exist and decides to start pruning his own timeline.
Oh, I would absolutely watch like Billy Joel become the one.
Yes. Yeah. If there are more timelines introduced and it turns out that one of them knows about the existence of the other timelines, call me back. But otherwise, yeah, no thank you. I'm
sending the rest down the river.
There can only be one Joe.
The one Joe.
The Joe-ining.
All right, Les. Les, you want to tell us about some other movies?
Yeah, so I also saw one called The Beta Test, which starred Jim Cummings. It's a
Winnie the Pooh?
No, it is different actor, very much younger.
Okay.
It's actually really hard to Google him. The beta test was, I really like the plot of the movie. It's got a huge twist to it, and I don't want to spoil it. It is interesting enough and well acted and well written that I would recommend seeing it. It is really hard to put a very unlikable character at the center of a movie, and you fucking hate this dude for most of the movie. I props to Jim Cummings for keeping enough manic energy going that you want to watch him, but you really want shit to go wrong for this guy for most of it.
Here's a tip, Randy. This is how you can tell Les is about to recommend a movie you're not going to like, which is, I really like the premise of this
movie. No, and that's and this is what happens sometimes at film fests. Like they swung for the fences on something that you couldn't put in theaters. It was a cool setup, but man, it's just a really unlikable main character. I want to watch other things that guy's done, because holy shit, does he carry those scenes. Then I watched Bingo Hell, which will be out on Amazon here pretty soon. Gigi Saul Guerrero directed that. She is known for super gory, fucking goo everywhere, drag me to hell levels of viscera, and this is no different. It's an old grandma and her team of grandmas trying to save their little town when obviously the fucking devil rolls in and operates a bingo hall, and shit just goes off the rails. A lot of really fucked up kills. Then I watched The Exorcism of God, which you ever watch an Exorcist movie where they spend the first hour trying to convince like the family to then go to the church, and then they got to spend like 30 minutes convincing the church that it's really a possession and that the devil's really real? And nope, none of that. None of that in this movie. Not a fucking nope. In the first 5 minutes, some crazy shit happens in a room full of priests, and every priest in the room goes, fuck, exorcism. And it's on. From there on, they throw every single exorcism thing you have ever seen in a movie at you with almost no setup. And it definitely undercuts some of the actual scare of it, but I liked it so much, I don't care. And it is one of the rare horror movies that leaves itself set up. I enjoyed this movie, but honestly, it feels like it sets up a sequel so crazy that I demand they make it now.
I like the idea of a room full of priests that are so gung-ho of like, it's the devil. That they keep, that just everything is the devil. Like, if they're just one bad situation away from a finger point and saying that it was the devil.
Yes, there is no like, well, in the 21st century, the Vatican doesn't really do exorcism.
Jeff, the devil didn't use up all the hot water. I keep telling you, you can't use that excuse.
You would swear that the entire, like, that the most of the Vatican is about exorcism at this point. There's none of that, like, well, in modern times. Nope.
Stop trying to exorcise the coffee machine. We're just out of grounds, man. It's not the devil.
Nope. It might be. We're going to try it. Yeah, Exorcism of God.
Exorcism of God. That's what I thought you said. Okay,
it's fucking awesome. I watched one called Ike Boys. These two kids in Oklahoma get this obscure import Japanese movie, and they watch it trying to impress this Japanese exchange student who came to Oklahoma because
that's never a good idea.
She really, really was interested in Indian culture, so she ends up staying with an Indian family in Oklahoma when she really meant Native American culture.
Oh.
And it's a huge disappointment when she shows up to the States in Oklahoma, and they're all like, why the fuck would you come to Oklahoma? And then she's with like Vikram's family. Yeah, it's they watch this movie and they become basically like Power Rangers. One of them turns into a mecha, one of them turns into a kaiju, one of them turns into like an enlightened god. Then I saw Lamb, which is an A24 movie. The trailer makes that look like a horror movie. It is not. It is sad and really beautiful and kind of has a fairy tale feel of like, hey, y'all stole some happiness and it's going to end real badly, like grim fairy tale badly. That said, it is a badass movie. I enjoyed the shit out of it. And Noomi Rapace is fast becoming my favorite actress. She is fucking amazing.
Oh, I like her in everything I've seen her in. Yeah.
I saw her in 2 movies so far this year, and she could not be more different in the roles. Just absolutely amazing. The last one I'll talk about this round is a movie called Mother Schmuckers.
If that's not a brand of preservatives, I have a copyright call to make.
It should be a Will Ferrell. I mean, it's a Belgian movie. If they were going to remake this would be Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Absolutely. Like, this has a Step Brothers vibe. These 2 dipshits lose their mom's dog and have to go look for it. It is really funny. It has 3 scenes that, taken together, I would have walked out of the fucking movie. I was actually angry at it at the end. So do with that what you will. It is funny, but it crossed lines for me.
All right.
If you've heard me talk about movies for a while, then you might have some idea where that line is, and I would think that statement.
Yeah, tell you what, do with it what you will. I will do nothing with it, Les. That's what I'm going to do with that.
All right. Well, Nick, why don't you, since you turned this into a solo thing for yourself, why don't you tell us about Squid Games?
Hey, that's actually not a bad thing that Stranger Than Fan Fiction got cut short, because I'm talking about a bunch of Asian shit. This is a South Korean show, called Squid Game, and it is basically Running Man meets Battle Royale, and the concept of it is all these people that are in debt, like not like student loan, you're in debt and you're having a hard time paying it off debt, like people like gangsters are after your liver and kidneys and stuff debt. Like, you're financially destitute and destroyed debt, and they get invited to this set of games to win money. So like, they're all there. I think there's like 456 of them. I only know that because our guy that we're following is the last one, and he's 456, the number. And they play children's games. They're going to play children's games, but they don't know how consequence heavy these games are going to be. So the first one is red light, green light. played with these creepy looking robot dolls in the front. So they play the first round, and then when they say red light, someone moves, the robot tracks it, and then suddenly that person gets shot in the face. And suddenly everyone starts to freak out and move, and the snipers just start taking everybody out that moves until like almost half the people are gone, and you just have a bunch of terrified people standing as still as they can. And they proceed to keep playing red light, green light, and they have to make it to the other side in a certain amount of time or they're all dead. And that's the first game. And a lot of them after that are like, the fuck, I did not sign up for this. And they get to vote on whether or not they get to leave, which was very interesting because they actually have a democratic thing. They all vote, and the majority vote to leave. So they actually leave the game. The guys let them go, but they invite them back later. And almost all the people come back to play this game, even though they know how deadly it is, because they are so financially wrecked. Their mom's about to die of cancer, or they're about to get killed by a gangster, or their kid is gonna die, or like their family is destitute. Like they're so desperate that they will play this game, even though it's almost guaranteed they will die. Because they're all kind of freaking out on whether or not they're gonna get killed. But then the thing is that they put the money comes into this giant piggy bank up top. And they keep counting as more people die. The pot gets higher and higher, up until the point where it's like $34 million. I mean, it's in yuan or whatever there, but in the American equivalent, it'd be about 34 million. And 34 million makes people go, well, I'll kill for 34 million. I'm surprised we're not killing each other right now.
Right.
And they start to kill each other right now. And like they start to kill each other between games in order to get this money. It's like a commentary on greed and kind of playground bullying, because all the games are based off of kids' games. Like there's Tug of War, there's like a hopscotch type game with glass or whatever, and like there's this other game, I think it's a South Korean game made up by the end of it, that's called the Squid Game. And I liked the premise of this, to Les's point over there, and it has some interesting characters that are like very over the top, but by the end of it, I was kind of like, okay, I'm enjoying this. This seems interesting, and you're kind of wondering, why is this happening? Who put this together? Like they kind of show all these people that have masks on that are running the game. They show rich people later that are betting on it, and by the end of it, the answer is, well, rich people get bored sometimes. That's it. And I'm sorry if I spoiled it for you, but there's really nothing going on in this show. Like, they have a whole commentary of like, well, you know, one of the rich guys has like audacity to go like, oh, you know what the rich man and a poor man has in common? They don't know what to do with money. They're just it's like abstract concept to them. Rich guy is so bored that money means nothing to him anymore. Oh yeah, like it must be such a bummer for you to be so bored. I was very disappointed by the end of it, and I didn't think you guys would like it.
It sounds like we still have not had a good version of the Running Man Stephen King story made, because that's basically the premise of the actual Running Man.
Yeah, no, that's the Running Man book is very much like this.
Yeah, they just didn't do that. I mean, it was still just one dude, but yeah, that just like, no, it's just a game. Like you live in a world where this is totally believable.
I want to be clear here, Les. Are you saying The Running Man is not a good movie?
I'm saying it is fundamentally different than the book.
Oh, that I can accept. Yes, okay.
They are two separate animals. I just mean that like there's still, I should have said still hadn't been a good version. There's still not actually been a version of that story made.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
not that Squid Game was trying to do that. They're hewing close to the setup.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't say I'm sad to have missed it. I don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to see it. Thank you for taking that bullet for us, Nick. It's another. Why can I never remember the name of that Netflix show you made? Irregulars that we made you watch.
Not an Irregulars. I did not mind it as like it's actually interesting until you realize they aren't really saying anything.
Oh damn it! We're on the last episode. Y'all aren't going anywhere with this. Fuck.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the regulars running joke is that I can never remember the name of it because it was so forgettable.
Yes.
I've erased it from my memory.
That is also my favorite bit of that, is that Randy just completely, his brain just wipes the show every time.
Well, it's kind of like when I like that movie Phone Booth until the very end of it, and I don't want to rewatch it again, where it's like, oh, why is he doing this? Because he's crazy?
Oh, really?
Okay, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lame.
All right, let's take us home with Fantastic Fest here. What else did you see?
I watched a documentary called This is Gwar, which was about Gwar. If you don't know a lot about Gwar, this is the documentary for you. If you do know a lot about Gwar, you absolutely want to watch this documentary. It's fucking fantastic. I love that band. They interview a bunch of celebs you'll recognize, but Thomas Lennon pops up at one point and is like, "Oh no, I love Gwar," from a distance. I don't want to see a show. They interview Weird Al at one point, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember playing the Palladium or somewhere, and we couldn't set up for an extra 4 hours because Gwar played the night before, and they were still trying to clean." And it's great. They talk about like the origins of how all that first came about. This combination of like a low budget sci-fi movie and a friends punk band, and it just grows out from there until these guys have been doing it for years. There's some absolutely insane stories, like tops nearly every VH1 behind the music I ever saw. They got mugged at gunpoint. One of them got shot on their way to a photo shoot. They still did the fucking photo shoot because Gwar is not a high dollar outfit. They'd already rented all the equipment and were like, "Oh no, this is happening today. Everybody who's at the hospital, you leave the dude who's shot. Y'all get the fuck over here." They put a different dude in his costume.
I thought they brought the dude who got shot.
Nope. But they show the photo, and there's like three just completely fucking PTSD looking dudes, and one like where they're like rando stranger. And yeah, Gwar's fucking hardcore. They're great.
That guy has the best story of anyone in that whole group. Yes, someone got shot. Yes, we all went to the hospital. Yes, but this guy who got the call, and he's like, "Hey, you want to be in Gwar?"
Also, they got arrested in North Carolina for breaking obscenity laws, which brings about a lot of really, really great quotes about how it is not a penis hanging off of his front of his costume. It's obviously, if you'll look directly at it, a cuttlefish.
I don't. If it's either one, I really don't want to look directly at it.
Yeah, you realize at that moment, oh my God, I don't think I've actually stared straight at it. Jesus Christ, it's an actual cuttlefish. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. So that they're just standing there arguing with the cops of like, it's not a penis. It's amazing. Half of them had gotten out of their costumes by the time they got arrested, and so when they asked who the guy, the other part of the obscenity thing, was dressed as a priest, and they were all like, I don't know. I don't know who the priest dude was. He's gone. They're fucking great. There's one movie called The Trip. Also has Noomi Rapace. Coming out on Netflix October 15th.
Man, she's in a lot of movies. She needs to repace herself.
Right?
Come on! Tough room today.
The Trip is fantastic.
Okay.
I know that's the name of the fest, but I'm no joke. You should go in as blind as possible. It is phenomenal.
Genre? Horror?
Tucker and Dale. It's not horror.
Okay.
Violent as fuck, but it's got a Tucker and Dale versus Evil level of humor to it.
All right. Okay.
I'm in love with that movie. I will be watching it again immediately as soon as it is on Netflix. I'll probably watch it again before it's out of my press screening room. Baby Assassins. I'm sure Nick was curious. It is about a world where there's clearly some kind of school somewhere that trains up assassins, that finds like orphan kids who are Dexter-style fucking sociopaths and just trains up assassins. These two kids have just graduated from it. And so there's a guy that meets with them that lines out their insurance and their 401k and all that kind of shit. And they have to go get part-time jobs. And the guy looks at him and he's like, "We're not scared of other assassins. We're not scared of other mobs. We're scared of tax collectors." And because the girls are like, they're both fucking sociopaths who cannot fit in society. And they're like, "I don't know how to do our taxes." And the guy's like, "Oh, no. We have someone who will do all of your taxes for you. Trust us. You cannot fuck that up." Because they just leave bodies everywhere, but like, as long as you don't fuck up your taxes. And it's just watching these two newbie assassins. The movie drags occasionally, and it is the charm of the two leads as these like basically recent assassin high school grads trying to live together. They are so charming, and then in the middle of these charming little scenes kill a shitload of people. And it is wonderful. Watched a movie from 1983 called Eyes of Fire that it's like if A24 put out a Little House on the Prairie episode, or if David Lynch directed Escape from Witch Mountain.
Shit, sold.
Oh my God, I would watch both those things.
Believe this movie came out in 1983 and screened in theaters. It's fucking awesome. And kind of like Exorcism of God, you don't spend any time trying to convince people that anything's really happening. They're in the frontier and in the American frontier, Lewis and Clark kind of era. And this woman with them living with their preacher in this town is a witch. And they don't fuck around for an hour convincing she's a witch. She has actual witch powers. And they get all kicked out of the village like you do. And they go to a valley where even the Indians that are the Shawnee that are following them won't fucking go. And the trapper that's with them's like, hey man, if they won't come in the valley, we shouldn't be in here.
Yeah, that's some Pet Cemetery type shit. Don't go there.
What happens for the rest of the movie, it's just awesome. Like, it just doesn't go at all where you think it's going to go, and is real weird. I really enjoyed it. I'll be watching it again. Watched There's Someone Inside Your House, which is by the same director that did the Creep movies. Go watch either Creep movie instead. I enjoyed both of them a lot more.
Okay, all right.
Patrick Brice is a great director. There's nothing wrong with this movie, but it's based on a book, and it feels like a very by the numbers. They're trying to make a slasher movie in the age of Lying Game type shows.
Okay.
And it doesn't not work, but it was almost everything else I watched at the fest did something fucking crazy with the genre it was messing around in, and this one was like, oh no, that is I would rather watch Fear Street.
I am so glad, Les, that you went to Fantastic Fest. So I know you were debating it, but Fantastic Fest is the place for you as far as
this movie's nearly good.
Like this movie, guys, it's almost close to being good.
Speaking of movies that were nearly good, Randy, did you ever see the 3-hour Langoliers back in the 90s?
No, I saw 20 minutes of it.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about. Bronson Pinchot and just it's everybody's over. Dean Stockwell, everybody's chewing scenery for miles. There's a kid with the like weird John Lennon black specs.
Yep.
And then the worst CG that was ever used in 95.
Yes.
At the
it's
end
awful.
of it. So somebody took that movie, they cut it down to 1 hour, and they redid it all in what looks like still photographs, but moving. So it gives it this La Jetée instead of 12 Monkeys kind of vibe. It cuts the runtime in a third, and it makes it into an actually good Twilight Zone episode.
Huh.
I would absolutely rewatch this. No one should ever sit through the full Langoliers anymore. I'm sorry, Tom Hopper, whoever directed that.
Hey, this guy is my hero if he's shortening Stephen King adaptations.
It's fucking great. It even makes the over-the-top craziness of the performances work. Like when Bronson Pinchot screams at somebody, his like face tears away, like paper tears away, and it's his dad from one of the flashback scenes screaming underneath. And like it makes all the over the top acting work. It makes his weird paper tearing anxiety fetish work. And then when the actual things show up at the end to eat reality, it works like a fucking Don Hertzfelder thing, and is terrifying. Like it's these fucking torn paper teeth in like little round ball that just take away white areas, so that the plane just has to take off into nothing.
How did I know the ending of this movie when I know I didn't watch it?
Everybody's seen the Langoliers, Randy.
Like I remember the weird bad sci-fi effects, but I know I didn't watch it all the way through.
Where Pac-Man eats time.
That period in the 90s where you didn't think anything was really wrong with the world, that's because we sold 3 hours of our lives to the Langoliers and no one remembers it.
Can I give them 3 more hours? I got 3 hours to give up.
Nope. It's a 1 hour black and white movie now, Randy. That's the timeline we're in.
I'm excited. Let's rotoscope Tommyknockers.
Seriously, they should do this with all of them. They should do this with all of them. It's fucking
Claymation Sleepwalkers.
I was gonna go Claymation Dreamcatcher, but yeah.
Man, we could do this all day.
Yeah. So VHS 94, I got to see.
Is that part of the VHS series?
Yes, it is absolutely part of the VHS series. It is 1 segment too long. I can't tell which segment. They're all about equally good, but it is 1 segment too long.
I need to watch VHS this year. I have not seen any of them.
I actually like that series of movies. This was one of the things I was most excited about at Fest. And even though I fucking adore 2 of the segments, overall, I don't think this is the strongest entry into that series. Watched Woodlands Dark, which is an incredibly long documentary on folk horror. Not that actor, not James Folk.
No, it's James Wolk.
But
Really? Are you
Woke?
not even listening to Randy?
Are you saying woke?
It's James Dark actually is
Yes.
his name.
Oh yeah, the shade. No, Woodlands Dark is a really long documentary about folk horror, which includes Eyes of Fire. It includes a lot of really fucked up Wicker Man type shit. That obviously they talk about Midsummer. Really neat. Entirely too long. I'm sorry, 3 hours is a crazy long runtime. I hit the middle of it and we're like chapter 5, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I have no idea what the arc of the syllabus for this movie is.
You're like, look, this isn't fucking Endgame.
I need to know at this point. Am I halfway through? Am I like where are we in the tunnel, Wonka? And then the last thing I'll talk about, the absolute best thing I watched at the fest so far, the only thing that fully tops Beyond the Infinite 2 minutes is called Sweetie, You Won't Believe It. It is, I'm not joking, it is a movie made last year in the glorious nation of Kazakhstan, which only in the last 10 years discovered was a country.
The made-up country from Borat?
Yes, the real country that sued Sacha Baron Cohen for that. They have made what is the funniest action comedy I have seen in years. It is somewhere between, like, if John Wick involved the physical comedy of like Bruce Campbell, and the entire movie was basically like watching Travolta shoot Marvin over and over. Like, all of the things that happen have that. And what do you think? Bam! Fuck, I shot Marvin! Like, over everything that happens. These three guys go on a fishing trip and witness a mob hit, and shit goes downhill.
And now I'm just picturing Keanu Reeves like, groovy.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's so fucking great. One of the guys' wife is in labor. They're out in the woods and they can't get cell reception. Yeah, I laughed my ass off. I've seen it twice already. It is so good. It's called Sweetie, You Won't Believe It, because they actually get to do the cut line into the title at the end where the guy's wife is holding their newborn and is like, "What the fuck happened?" Sweetie, You Won't Believe It. So good.
Okay, all right. So yeah, let's do double desserts, which I know, Les, even though you didn't watch a lot of TV, you did make time for dessert.
Yes. Yeah. Randy, we've talked about how weird, whether I'm just noticing them more or whether they're actually an uptick in storylines, the amount of dead dads and television in the last year.
What the hell?
How did you guys do with this? Because this one was triggering. Holy shit.
But at least this dad was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I broke hard at maybe 20 minutes in.
Man, the Ted.
And by the time they
stuff?
actually got to her eulogy, I was absolutely like, I'd already like cried, snotty, paused it, gone and blown my nose and never got my shit back together. And then we got to the eulogy and it broke. I broke again because I buried my dad and stepdad this year, and this fucking episode was a lot.
Well, in very Ted Lasso fashion, they even at the very beginning of the episode, like, hey, here's this song you hate. Remember when everyone hated being rickrolled? Well, guess what? You're gonna fucking cry every time you hear it.
You're gonna love it.
You sons of bitches.
Yep.
I didn't tell somebody what happened, but I did message them and say, you have to watch this week's Ted Lasso. It has what is bar none the finest eulogy I have ever seen given. And it makes me regret that I did not take an opportunity in the amount of funerals in the last few years and rickroll an entire fucking
it was awesome.
I love the way that they intercut, and this could have easily been cheesy, but these guys know what they're doing. The way they're intercutting Rebecca telling her story and Ted telling his story.
Yeah. Oh my God. Even and down to the dates. And I remember the date because
man, that was just stunning. And the thing is, when we're watching Ted sing and dance along to Easy Lover by Phil Collins, which of course he does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's already told Beard before, I don't think Getting Ready should take any longer than the song Easy Lover by Phil Collins.
We don't talk about how good the music is in this show.
It's probably because that guy from Mumford & Sons did it, but we can talk about it.
It
is incredibly good. I just don't like it.
Their choices of music, though, are all good. Like, all the background music in the show.
They can even make shitty
really
music,
good.
and they proved in this episode that, like, they'll make it into a scene that you're going to love that fucking song by the end of it.
Yeah, that's the impressive
thing. I just love that they actually did the call, but it is actually the right song from when he slept through his alarm and Beard woke him up late. And he's like, we still made it down quick. And like, shouldn't take any longer than Easy Lover.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. There's so many things that they pick up. They keep the references going. There's nothing dropped. But when Ted's getting ready and he's going to Rebecca's dad's funeral, I'm like, there's no way this isn't going to cause a panic attack. Like, there's no way he's not going to have a panic attack right now. And of course he did. And then having him talk with the psychiatrist, who I love the way that relationship developed. I love the bit where he's like, "Do you want some tea?" And he's like, "No, I hate tea. It tastes like bread water." And he's like, "I'll tell you anything."
Yep, I'll tell you anything.
Yep. So good. And then whenever I see, and I've done just a tiny bit of therapy, not a lot, but I've seen enough therapy and TV to be tired of the trope. But this was when she's talking to him and she says, "Tell me something good about him." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, you told me what you hate. Tell me what you love." And I'm like, holy shit, she's doing her job in a way that makes total sense.
Well, the reason he hates him is because he took away the person he loved the most, which was him.
Yeah.
That's why he's so mad.
The story about his dad reading the book for him, man. Just like...
His dad was the coolest person to him, and that's why Ted is the way he is, and treats everyone like they're special, and could have anything going on in their life, because he missed what was going on with his dad, and that's just you're a kid. That's just not your fault, man.
And he still blames himself for it. Yeah, and he's taken the whole world on his shoulders that he has to prevent anyone else from going through that.
Right. And as far as seeing a lot of therapy from the other angle of it, it's he's very right to feel angry at his dad for doing that, because it is ultimately selfish, but it's not the fact that he didn't love you. It's just the fact that sometimes all that combined stuff, if you have a chemical imbalance or just the way you are, sometimes that isn't enough. And sometimes you need the help of a therapist that obviously his dad needed, but didn't get it in time. And that was just tragic.
Yeah. That you have a therapist to say this wasn't about you. That you can say that to someone, but you need to be able to say it in a way that they can hear. And man, it's next level as far as as with everything else in the show. Of this is setting the bar high for people doing therapy on TV. Like, if you show me a therapist now, it's got to be at least as good as the stuff in Ted Lasso.
There are shows that I would have skipped. Like, if this were just an average sitcom, I would have just skipped this episode.
Yeah, because
I don't trust all shows in this year of my life to take me into that spot and do it okay. And I did when I saw it was a Ted Lasso funeral episode and was like, yeah, this is going to be all right. They're going to handle this okay.
Yeah. And the other thing, along with the serious stuff going on, like the stuff with Rebecca and her, when Rebecca says to her mom, "I hate you too," that was fucking savage.
That was rough stuff.
Real true. And I love the mom's comeback of "I'll take that over indifference."
She's like, "Yeah, I'd rather you hate me than be indifferent."
Well, it's just like, I'm different than you. When I love someone, I love them forever.
Yeah.
And I wish I was like you, to where I could leave someone like what's his face.
Yeah, I love the way that plays out so beautifully, because it's like she's telling her a thing that's like, this is the thing about me, and I'm not judging you for not being like that, and I'm proud of you for being the way you are, and also that she managed to flip the way that she treats Rupert, of stop letting him get under your skin, in a way that no one could have just told her that. You can't just say, "Hey, stop letting him bother you." She tells him why.
No, this is why I'm being nice to him, because he can't get anything off of me.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's like, why are you so nice to Rupert? Like, I don't like him. He's a douchebag. Also, fuck him for coming to that funeral in the first place.
Yes.
With a goddamn baby, with the new baby.
And bringing the baby. Wow, what an asshole.
I love that. Worst. Well, he was like, family. No. I mean, I can't believe you're here because you weren't invited.
Right?
Yeah. By the way, I would like someone like Sassy to speak like that to my enemies for me. I love that she, with a big smile on her face, is like, "I think about your death every day. I'm going to wear red to your funeral.
I will be a beacon of joy.
I'm going to ruin that day for the other 3 people that are there."
Yeah, it was, oh my God, just glorious.
Always a pleasure, Sassy. Fuck off and die, Rupert.
Fuck off. Glorious.
Yes.
I loved that. And little bits of everybody showing up without their trainers.
That was a big sacrifice. I love that she was like,
"Another of them are wearing trainers."
That's how much they care about you.
And they're not in train. I love, but I don't have time to go wait from midnight to 6 a.m. to get these shoes. And Jamie's like, "Oh, no, these aren't like those kind of shoes. No one wants these."
No one wants them.
I love that no one suffered more than Danny Rojas.
Danny Rojas is like...
I will burn these so that their memory will burn in hell.
Where these shoes belong.
And then him taking Rebecca's giant fuzzy slippers.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The other incredibly Ted Lasso writing moment for me on this episode was the 1-2 punch of, in terms of that, like setting something up and me going, oh no, Ted Lasso, you're going to go the wrong direction. And then just like, don't worry about it. We got this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Having Jamie walk in and say, I didn't just come back to Richmond because I needed to get away from my dad. I'm becoming the best version of myself. And that's because of you. Having always seen that in me. Like it's an incredible speech. It doesn't go too far for what Jamie Tart can do, but it feels true to the character. And then he says he loves her. And I was like, oh, God damn it. I do not want to watch a fucking half season of her trying to choose between Jamie and Roy. And then she turns around and Roy nails it.
Yeah.
With the exact same I love you. Sorry.
Yeah. Also, by the way, Jamie is the best version of himself who still isn't good enough to realize you don't do that shit right then. He knows it's shitty and he does it anyway because he's still selfish.
He says it's shitty.
I realized, but I also liked that he finally said it because, like, obviously this has been on his mind for a while. And as far as saying it, like, that was the coolest way he could have played it at that moment.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything back. I just got to say this, and then we don't have to ever talk about it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
His evolution doesn't have him at a point where he won't say it, but he does have him at a point where he recognizes I shouldn't.
Well, it's like I'm close to being that person, the best version of myself, and I'm like, well, the best version of you also might not be good enough for Keely. But
for Keely, the best version of you is still an asshole a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Roy's thing. Roy is very true to being Roy Kent. Like, I don't know if you guys. I've definitely been in this situation where I'm running a joke too long on someone I love, and I don't realize that I've gone from we're joking together to, oh shit, you're actually mad at me about this.
Yeah.
And knowing that you've pushed that too far and being able to apologize and say, hey, and here's where this was coming from. It's not just, I'm not going to say, hey, I was just joking. I'm not going to be that asshole. I'm going to tell you why I was joking. And then I'm going to tell you I'm sorry. And then I'm going to tell you I love you. And I'm like, holy shit, Roy Kent is a perfect human.
Yeah. It's just all that had to do with my grandfather, and I deflect with humor. And...
I mean, if not, it takes him 30 minutes to figure it out.
Yeah.
If he's not perfect, it takes him 20 to 30 minutes and he'll get it together.
He'll get there. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the Sam and Rebecca stuff, which again, landmine that I was really worried about. They handled it beautifully. Dude. I love the bit where Keely immediately guesses that it's Sam and they all freak out.
Is he tall?
Yes.
Sam, how the fuck did you know that?
Fuck you! How the fuck did you do that? And I love her apologizing to Beck's daughter, to Sassy Smurf's daughter.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, that's right, because like she has a huge crush on Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like,
right.
and
the daughter looks back at her as like
boss ass
bitch.
It's a boss move right there. And the priest is so pissed.
Yep.
Oh, he's so good. I think the vicar wants to swear.
Like, he keeps sending people in to like quiet them down, and they just get louder.
Yep, it just keeps adding people to the group.
Well, also, I've been at a funeral for my father, and I did the same exact move where they're like, yeah, he really appreciated you. Thank you for showing up. Who was that? I have no fucking idea.
No fucking clue.
We all do, like, we're just pretending, and like we all kind of like know the game. Like, it's rude. It would be rude for me to ask you who the fuck you are right now. So I'm gonna kind of pretend I know who you are and just kind of go with this.
As family, you have perfect cover. Like, you can be any way. That was the beauty of watching this episode, was knowing that like they can be loud and laughing and inappropriate and whatever, and all you have to do is go, oh no, that's the immediate family. Like, oh, bless their hearts.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want.
They can be losing their minds today. It's just great.
Then there's the Sam Rebecca thing where they break up. Where again, this is a kind of thing where this, like The Good Place, Ted Lasso shows me like this is how I want to be.
It's like the divorce. It's a great breakup.
The way that they do this, where she's like, I'm not. Basically, she's like, I need to figure this out. I need to be. And Sam is clearly devastated, but he doesn't lash out. He doesn't take time for his own feelings. He just makes
his
a joke.
move at the end is so solid.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's just so you know, I'm only gonna get more amazing.
More wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, her realization for the breakup, you know, it's coming from when she's talking to her mom, and she has the moment of, it was hard to leave Rupert because being alone is fucking terrifying, but it's getting okay. And you see her realize, oh my God, I put in the work that I actually enjoy being alone now.
Yeah.
And I knew right then of like, she's gonna break up with Sam. She just realized that that she doesn't want to make Sam a rebound.
And I also love that.
She doesn't need a rebound.
After the whole therapist thing, Ted shows up right at the end to save the day as far as the usually goes, because who's gonna pick up the Rick Astley song when she can't continue anymore? And they all continue the song together, and I'm like, God, if on paper, if you showed me this scene, I would say this is stupid. This would never work. Why would you ever write something like this? And then seeing it on screen, just working the way it does, is so a testament to this show and how good its writers are. Like, this is not a fluke. Ted Lasso will be good for this season and the next season until it's done. And it will be one of the greatest shows that we will constantly reference to and compare other shows to for the rest of the time.
Like, it's like Danny Rojas killing the dog in the first episode. Like, it's the weirdest flex.
No, it's a weird move to go.
They keep making middle fingers work. I mean, it's like the whole show, cast and everybody turn to the camera and just double bird salute. And I'm at home going, best television I've ever seen in my fucking life. It's the greatest thing. And they keep pulling it off. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, there's a bit in Parks and Rec early on when Ben had just come in, when Leslie is hopped up on flu medicine, and gives this amazing speech, and he turns the camera and he's like, that was like watching Jordan. And he lists like 3 or 4 perfect things. That is what watching every episode of the show feels like. It's like watching people who you're like, nobody should be this good at this.
It's like watching Jordan taken to the pocket.
With the flu,
Nobody should be this good at this. And I'm like, I'm wondering how anyone ever makes a show this good again. Yeah, it's so good.
This is Bruce Lee playing ping pong with nunchucks good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, a human being can do that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. I wouldn't give it to any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. I've gotta make you understand. I'm never gonna give you up, let you down, run around or desert you. I'm never gonna make you cry, say goodbye, tell a lie or hurt you.
Let's divert over and talk about What If, which this week kind of delivered on a promise that they've been making for a while now.
Well, it is one of those things of like, if a character says they're not going to do something for every episode for 8 episodes, they pretty much got to do that thing by the 9th episode.
Yeah.
Well, also the Watcher in the comics has been defined by he's the one who always breaks his oath every time.
Marvel and DC have a lot of parallels. Owatu's fucking Ganthet. Like, he's the guardian that keeps dicking with everything.
Yes.
I love that he's like the omniscient narrator that suddenly realizes that the dude can hear him, like, and he's reached another level of. Oh,
that was so good.
That moment where Ultron's bored and is like, "Who said that?"
I love that he drops this thing too. Like, he actually says, "What the hell is going on here?" Like, he drops his whole pontificating flowery language. Like, oh, this is real bad.
I mean,
oh shit.
I mean, watching Cosmic Ultron throw down with the Watcher was super cool.
Yeah, it was like, oh man, the Watcher's got moves.
Yes, and just burst through realities. When he kept punching him and it just kept rolling out new worlds around. Like, people just kept being, like, reskinned in a new game.
He just keeps punching him to different realities and shit.
Yes.
Also, as just a robot apocalypse, I liked the Black Canary, or the,
oh my God,
the Hawkeye Black Widow stuff.
That opening scene is got to be my favorite Hawkeye fight at this point.
It's so good. Hawkeye's never been this cool.
I want a Black Widow Apocalypse action figure right now with fucking the Soviet Captain America shield.
When she finds the shield, I love it.
I will. Minor gripe. She shouldn't be able to bounce the shield like that. That's a skill that Steve Rogers had to practice.
Well, maybe she practiced with the shield during the whole apocalypse later. I don't know. We don't know.
Maybe so.
I would have enjoyed seeing her bounce it wrong, like, and it go random.
Randy, they shouldn't be able to go anywhere on Earth with nuclear fallout. Everywhere is fucked.
It's Army of
That's
Dead
true.
rules, Nick.
That's true.
And I love
True.
that the Watcher is also watching them like, I can't interfere. Like, oh, there it is. Just get it. No. Oh, damn.
Oh, his
no.
antsiness standing there of like,
It's almost too much for me, guys, because the Watcher for me, he's got to be this like distant guy, and having him be basically a little more Jeffrey Wright. He's like, you just do it. It's right there. Just do it. It was almost too much, but at the same time, it's fucking adorable, and I loved it.
No, I love that because he was that guy for the other episodes where he's high and mighty and like, no, I don't interfere.
Yeah.
This is not
like,
my.
It feels like the reveal that he's actually scared, that he's being a little like, no, do it.
No, like this is like this is a real problem. So you get the thing.
Well, no,
get it.
He's the audience.
Yeah.
He's the audience, and this is like the audience of the horror movie. He's yelling at the screen.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't go in the bathroom. Fuck.
And I of course, we keep talking about the Ultron incursion into the What If series or whatever from last episode.
Yeah.
But this episode also pulls back from another. I love it when the Watcher goes to his little like whatever Nexus safety point,
mm-hmm. and
it's the Stephen Strange that kept fucking acquiring knowledge and trying to reboot or trying to bring back.
Yep. And that's the other character who was the first one to see the Watcher.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they call that back, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, because he turns and looks at the thrift store painting Watcher in the background.
It's like if you attain a certain level of power and sentience in the universe, you get like on a higher plane or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you only have an Infinity Gauntlet missing one stone, Ultron can laser your face off.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
Well, that was another thing of like, I don't think it would have been that easy. Otherwise, Vision wouldn't have had such a tough time with that Thanos getting that fucking gem out of his head. But they got to move the story along, and they can't have a 20-minute fight with Thanos.
Or
it was funny though.
Or if you just don't have any moral compass at all, if you're willing to just walk in the room, no monologue, nothing, just laser Thanos in half as soon as you see him. But yeah, I think it would have been funnier to see Ultron do that from orbit of like look down at a planet and like, who are you?
Yeah. So yeah, we're getting to the point where clearly the Watcher is going to break his oath along with this crazy powerful Doctor Strange, and they're going to put together this multiversal guardians to stop the existential threat of multi-dimensional Infinity Gauntlet Ultron from just bringing peace to the entire multiverse, by which we mean killing all organic life.
Well, it's like Judge Death peace.
Yeah. It's going to be peaceful.
The fight scenes in here are so good. Like, when I said fuck CGI animation, I guess if you put enough money into it, like, and also they kind of cheat sometimes here where they throw in a little 2D.
Futurama was technically CG animation, so like, it can be done.
Also, I saw a friend post a thing about this that, most animation is done at 30 frames per second. But this, they did it slightly different. It's at 34 frames per second. You can find more information at this. Just Google Marvel Rule 34, and you'll see all the information on that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just make sure and Google that.
I like the the way they've. Like the first guy they recruit is the like evil Doctor Strange. I love that. Of like, who's the other most powerful dude I know that fucked up an entire universe?
Right.
Well, I'm gonna go grab that guy. Oh, and let me tell you this: there's gonna be a point where they need someone like they have to fight in a void of space. Like, well, nothing can live in there. Well, I know some Avengers that are dead, and they grab some Marvel zombies.
There's going to be a zombie. There's going to be Captain Carter. I hope we're going to get T'Challa the Star-Lord
for sure.
Yeah.
They got to grab at least one person from every one of the episodes we watched.
When I was watching this, I always watch the credits and I always see the voice cast below. And I noticed in watching this, I'm like, it's Jeffrey Wright and it's Jeremy Renner. And then it's a bunch of people doing voices.
Lake Bell's the best among them, I feel.
I thought the voice work here was great.
Lake Bell is such a good Scarlett Johansson impression.
It's really good. And actually, I think Jeffrey Marchand might have been the name, but the guy who does Ultron is actually something
Ross Marquand.
Ross Marquand. Ballpark. But the Ultron voice is great. The Black Widow voice is great. Like I thought last episode, I sort of complained. I thought their Thor wasn't very good, and their
Carol Danvers is still different, but
she's not great. But she's okay.
Thor is still Chris Hemsworth. I think you just didn't like the.
Not Thor.
Frigga.
It was Frigga who was weird. Yeah,
they didn't get Rene Russo.
But anyway, this was a nice return after the last episode kind of let me down. Oh, are we gonna get Party Boy Thor, or are they all dead because we saw Ultron show up at the end of that one?
I figured the only person I could think of to get from that is maybe Ice Giant Loki.
Yeah, maybe so.
That would be rad.
Because maybe you want a different type of version of Loki than we've already seen. Otherwise, Party Thor isn't different enough to really make it special that he joins a Guardian team.
Right.
Well, and I think you're right. I think that universe has fallen, so they may not be on the table.
That's the other thing is, in watching this, I'm like, oh, we are going to see, when What If is all said and done, they will have been building a story this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also, it seems like Disney will make you love previous movies of nope, we don't care if you didn't like Thor: The Dark World. Suddenly it's in Endgame and now it's important. We will make you like every movie. Now they're going back even farther of
100%.
We're going to make you like Howard the Duck, son of a bitch. This is what we're doing. Even Howard's been in this series a lot more than I thought he'd be.
If Howard the Duck isn't one of the Guardians of the Multiverse, I will eat my hat.
It'd be totally bullshit if he doesn't show up. He's been he's too consistent to not be there at least a little bit.
Not even really on the team. He's just following Darcy around.
God, I hope he puts on the armor and does some quack fu.
Mrs. the Duck.
I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy if he puts on the Iron Duck armor and does some quack fu.
Or at least runs into another multiverse Howard that is Iron Duck.
Yeah. Yes, that would be amazing.
Or maybe the Mighty Ducks. The Disney owns the Mighty Ducks.
No, too far.
I think they should get full Space Jam on this.
Too far. I really enjoyed this episode. I'm enjoying. I can't wait to see if the rest of this is going to be
lightsaber umbrella
Guardians together. But yeah, this was really good. Well, guys, that's a pretty packed episode for us. We talked about a bunch of shows, a bunch of movies, even some things we recommend watching. And while we're talking about this, Kyle's out having a baby, and we wish him the best.
A legendary day. Mark this as the day as Nick liked something Star Wars related and Randy liked something anime.
And Les recommended some weird ass movies.
Yes.
No, wait, that's an onion.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
And thank you to our patrons and our listeners. And a reminder that if you go over to patreon.com/tvdudes, you can listen to us talk about, well, this week we're talking about Babylon 5 and Night Court, which is weird because that's TV stuff, but it's TV news. Anyway, that's it for us. Until next time.
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.